Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. Due to YouTube's changing quote-unquote community standards, I created a channel called Grumpy Old Fart over on Rumble, a free speech alternative to YouTube. You can see all of my stuff over there, including my political and social commentary, as well as my current events videos. The links to my YouTube and Rumble channels, as well as links to let you order my books, are in the description of this video. If you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. Now, on with the video. Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an alien abduction video on the Lynn Buchanan story. Now, I first read about this in a book by Jim Marrs, and most of my information comes from that. So credit to Jim Marrs there. He's awesome. Anybody, if you've not read his books, please do so. You're missing out. I'm just saying. This abduction event took place in the mid-1960s. There's more stuff that goes with it, but here we go. In the mid-1960s, Lynn Buchanan was moving to a different job. He was packing up to move, and his family had gone on ahead. He bedded down with pillow and blankets, eager to finish up in the morning. At about 2 a.m., he heard something coming down in the backyard. He was paralyzed and could not move. He heard people moving around both sides of the building to the front. Then he was standing in the living room, disoriented and confused. It was morning and the sun was up. He remembered nothing about what happened, so he grabbed his stuff and went, did his thing, and he didn't think about it. Later on, Buchanan became a military intelligence officer. He'd become inexplicably obsessed with returning to his home, wherever he lived, with a feeling that he had forgotten something. Well, one day his wife, when he was going back, his wife sarcastically asked, did you check the backyard? And at that point, memories flooded back. That one little comment triggered memories. Over time, and with various aids like hypnosis and remote viewing, he remembered what had happened to him. He'd been abducted with a plethora of other humans. When the alien realized he was awake, they let him sit with the pilot and observe how the craft was flown. He claims he was taken to another planet where he heard lots of screaming and laughing. Now that would scare the bejesus out of me, I'm just saying. For him, it was all very confusing. The aliens offered him a job as a pilot. It had something to do with the size of his hands. With the size of his hands. Sorry, my voice is still going. I'm getting over that cold. But when he learned he would never see his family again, he politely refused the job offer. So then he was returned and was standing in the living room, disoriented and confused. And from there he remembers everything else. Now that's a weird story. But it gets weirder. Years later, two men dressed in black took him into a room in the back of the Defense Intelligence Agency and questioned him. They questioned him very thoroughly about the abduction. When he confirmed how the control panel looked and functioned, one of the men became excited and said, quote, "So that's it," close quote. Buchanan, being an intelligence officer, surmised that they had one of these craft and were trying to figure out how it worked. That makes sense to me. A year later, Buchanan was on a tour through a classified building to look at mock-up exhibitions of airplane crash sites. He noticed that one of the exhibits was an exact duplicate of the control panel like the one on the ship. Without thinking, he turned and told the officer that was conducting the tour that the control panel was not out of an airplane, but rather was out of a flying saucer. The officer was shocked, but confirmed that it was reported to be from an alien craft. The group was almost immediately ushered out of the building and reminded not to talk about the visit. So there was a level of secrecy there in the building, obviously. And maybe he saw something he wasn't supposed to see, or they didn't. Either they wanted him to see if they got him through there to see if he would recognize it, or he wasn't supposed to recognize it. Maybe nobody was. I don't know. This is one of the more interesting reports in the abduction realm. The fact that Buchanan is an intelligence officer and is relating this story gives it tons of weight. People say, well, maybe it's disinformation. If he was a skeptic, or if it was disinformation, then it would follow that he would deny the abduction happened. But he's technically an enemy in the ufology field, and he's relating an abduction story. And he's relating these events. That adds, in my opinion, that adds a lot of weight to it. Whenever I do these UFO stories, I try not to do stories that don't have any substantiation. To me, that speaks volumes. That's all I'm saying. Do some more research on that if you want to. Put some comments down there. I'd love to read them. You folks have a good day now. God bless one and all. Clarissa Lowe, a historian from the future. Delmore Kane, a Civil War veteran turned outlaw. This oddball pairing faces a conspiracy of epic proportions spanning the centuries. If you like action and adventure westerns with a splash of science fiction and fantasy, check out my book series Drifters and their ongoing adventures.